Welcome everyone! Welcome to a brand new Let's Play. We are playing a brilliant game, an amazing game, one of my all-time favorites. We are playing Evil Genius. So this game came out a really long time ago. And it's been a pretty long time since I played it. And if I'm being honest, I haven't played it legit in a pretty long time. I've normally cheated just to sort of have fun with it, more than the daily grind, but we're playing it properly for you guys, so let's get started. I am going to play it on probably easy because I'm a scrub and I haven't played this game forever. And we might just play as Maximilian as our genius. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So, this game... Actually, there's a cutscene coming up, so I guess I'll just, be quiet. It's not a terribly exciting cutscene, I'll admit. Okay, so this game is like an amalgamation of... Just calm down, bitch. Is an amalgamation of, like, all the old James Bond movies. Not the new ones, not the... I'd argue not even, like, the Pierce Brosnan ones. Not the Daniel Craig ones. You're looking at everything before that. Like, you're looking at the really sort of campy, like, obvious type ones. Not to say that that's bad, just to say that that's the style it used to be, right? Well, in this, you play your evil genius. So in this case, it is me, Maximilian, or TheOzzieNerd if you prefer, and my one evil henchman, who is Jubei the samurai swordsman and sushi master, and my minions. So I have two minions. I have two little worker minions that do pretty much nothing. They are there to construct. They are, other than that, pretty useless. And we, you know, first things first, we have to make our mountain base. So we get, you can see over here, we can construct everywhere in this entire mountain, right? Whole thing. And we need to defeat the forces of good. I have a video tutorial. I don't care. I know how to play the game. So, our main objectives at the start are... We need to ensure a healthy minion force by building a barracks. So we need a bunk bed and a locker. We can send minions around the world to carry acts of infamy. To carry out acts of infamy. We need to construct a control room to help filter information before we can do that. So make sure I have one control console and one memory bank in that room. And it seems you are under scrutiny even before you begin. Somewhere on the island are some pesky investigators tipped off to your arrival. Eliminate them. So the investigators are actually over here. You can see them on the minimap. They come up as red. So these are investigators from the forces of good. Now, okay, it doesn't tell you who they work for yet, but that becomes important later on. Now, we do need to make a barracks, so I'm going to do it like here, right? Just do something like this. Probably be that big. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. That should be fine. We'll tick it off to say that we want it built and set up some bunk beds and stuff. Now, I have another plan here, which I might set up right now. So I'm going to actually build a strong room in here. So you just put furniture in. 2, 3. That should be fine for a strong room for the moment. And let's set up the barracks. So, this game is basically like a real-time strategy, management, base building type deal, right? Oh my god, you made it disappear. You asshole minions. Why are you like this? Okay, so with the main goal of, like, you're playing an evil genius from, like, you're playing a Bond villain, basically. So at the end of the game, the overall purpose of the game is to make a doomsday weapon and hold the Earth to ransom and then, like, destroy the world, right? That's your overall goal. So, you know, you have to start at humble beginnings. You can't just jump straight to the doomsday laser, right? You have to, you know, you gotta think about the infrastructure. Minions need beds and all sorts of things. So we're gonna set up this ooh, actually, what if I demolish these, and then we will...
All construction workers are busy at the present time.
Ooh.
Object purchase delayed.
Could build something here, though. So I'll leave a gap there.
Object will be purchased when a minion is available for duty.
So there's lots of things that you have to take into account, like there's impassable rock here, so we can't do anything about that. And there's a lot of buildings. So at the moment we only have access... Sorry, buildings. Rooms. So at the moment we only have access to a few rooms. We have corridors, strong rooms, barracks, and control rooms. Which isn't that much. I think there's something like 12 rooms? Probably more. Probably somewhere close to 20, but... There we go, we finished our objective. Bam! Just love the aesthetic of this game, right? It is the, like, campiest... Yeah, I do notice. So, it's like the campiest, most, I don't know, self-aware parody of, like, a James Bond movie that you can get, right? Like, your henchmen are ridiculous, you're ridiculous. I mean, I'm playing, like, a 3-foot tall, like, German-sounding guy.
Wunderbar.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely German. Right, playing like a 3-foot German midget as my guy. You can see him, you know, you can picture him in, like, a really old Bond movie. And that's what they parodied him off, like a Dr. No, you know, like sitting there, stroking his cat in his chair. Like, that's the sort of aesthetic they've gone for, and I think they nail it. It's such a fun game. Fun in the sense that, like, it's whimsical and well put together, but also it's just super fun. If you haven't got this game, you haven't played it, but you like sort of management, strategy-style games with some twists... Go for this, please. You will not regret it, I can promise you that. So, at the moment we're sort of low on manpower because we only had access to 5 minions, but we have completed that objective, which boosts our capacity. So, I will max this out. So, this is how you hire minions, right? So, you can see there's all different types of minions. Basically, the way it works is you have construction workers, and they train. So, I believe this is the military path. So, you can train them to be better soldiers, which starts with guards, mercenaries, snipers, and martial artists. Pretty sure that's what that path is. Then this one, I believe, is the science path. So you start with just like technicians, then you get scientists, then you get biochemists or quantum physicists. And the bottom path is social. So you start with valets, which upgrades to something that I can't remember. And then you finish with diplomat or playboy. So as you like play the game, you unlock all these new minion types, and you'll need to make good use of all of them, basically. And that's how the game is. But the problem with that is you have to actually train them. Like, you have to physically train them. So with construction workers, you know, they're just throwaway Goombas, right? No one cares about them. So, they're automatically recruited. You go to any country in the world and you just hire Joe Blow, minimum wage, construction worker, like minions that are, you know, they'll do whatever you tell them. You're the boss, so that's what they do. They're just good for heavy lifting, right? Not much else. So, that's them. But then as you want to upgrade them, you have to actually, like, give them training. You can't just hire them straight out. Now, some of the challenges in this game is in the base design. Not just because you run out of space, more because the forces of justice, like our investigators out here, who for the moment aren't too much of a threat, but they will be later on. They're just like the basic shitty ones. The nations of the world will send tougher people to come and get us. Anyway, I'm going to stop stalling and actually do some construction and stuff. So we need to build this control room, and I'm thinking we build it up here. Control room has to be relatively big, I believe. Especially at the start. So probably something like this. It'll tell me there's no entrance, but wah, that's fine. Also, I need to put like a... I'll just do that. 4 4. Wow, that was actually pretty well handled. Okay, so we're gonna put our entrance here, but... What if... Because let's play some what-if scenarios. What if the forces of justice got in? So what if these investigators, right, they're just wandering around, they're trying to find signs that we're doing evil. You know, aside from the underground lair. That, you know, every millionaire's got an underground lair. I think what they, like... I think the story and the idea of it is that you're just like an eccentric billionaire, right? And that's what they think you are. So they hire these investigators to come in and, like, investigate your stuff and be like, are they evil? You know, let's check and make sure they're not evil, right? So, when they get on the island, like these guys, you can see they have the big blue ring around them. That means that there's nothing suspicious that they found. Everything is above board. Now, I don't think we have anything suspicious at the moment. Aside from a samurai, but, again, doesn't technically count. So, at the moment everything's above board, but what can happen is they wander into the base, and they find something that is incriminating. And then they'll take photos and they try to escape and get back to their country of origin and, like, tell the government, no, like, there's things there, like, you need to send the Air Force, send the soldiers, send everything to kill them. So, we have to deal with that throughout the entire game. So let's look at our base, right?
Important information will be...
Yeah, shut up. In fact, perfect example, they're coming in now. So they've seen all the minions coming in and they're sort of following them in, going like, what's going on over here? Why is there so many people coming and going, right?
I need to be here.
So... they're going to walk in. They can't get through this door, technically, but they can follow minions in. So when the door's open, they can just walk through. But you'll see, they're stuck. They can't get in there. But what they're going to do is try to, like, bust it open. Unless one of my minions just walks in. Yeah, no, just a barracks. Nothing suspicious here. Officer. Tips fedora. Right, so what if they come in, right? They walk in, they see this room, nothing suspicious. But what if they keep following them down? Did I just get hurt by that? Probably, but it's fine. Yeah, so you gotta think about it that way. Like, well, there's nothing suspicious about having some quarters for the workers, right? There's, you know, people need beds. Nothing suspicious about that. A strong room's a little more suspicious. I don't think it's actually suspicious, but I think it will be. So if they were to get in there, they can also... later on you can get, like, thieves and stuff who will come in and steal shit. So that's why I've kind of put it in front of the barracks here. Because that way, if anyone's going to steal stuff, they run straight out past all our minions. And they're not going to make it, basically. In short, they're dead. Okay. Don't know what that was. Anyway. But then, it gets a bit more suspicious when you come over here. Because, like, you know, why does an eccentric millionaire need a big room with lots of computers? You know, just saying. So, we might actually make this a little bit harder to get to. So why don't we do something like this, right? We'll do that. Or do we do that? No. We're going to do this instead. So we'll erase this and we'll put it over here. So that'll be the entrance on that side. You know me, a little bit of an OCD streak. I like to have all my stuff centered, but there's a reason for it. Just calm down, everyone. So I'm going to do that. I can probably put a small type room in here. Yeah, that can fit something. I'll find something to put in there. And then we can sort of split off a path to go this way. And actually, that's what we'll do. So we will put... okay, we'll build something else here. Because all we can do is we can put, like, doors here. And it'll make it a lot harder for them to get through. So yeah, I think we're going to get a couple more lockers over here. Oh, oops, it was already facing the right way.
Object has been ordered.
I forgot to hold shift. Stupid. Okay. Because, yeah, we'll put something here. I have an idea of what we might put there, but I'll worry about that when we unlock it. So, what do we need in here? We need control panels for our minions to sit at, so I can probably fit, like, 2 rows? Yeah, that should be fine. How do I want to do this? Do I want to put a gap? Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So go 1, 2, boom, boom, and then we use the memory banks on this side.
Object purchase order confirmed.
I think that'll be good. And we need a time clock, and we'll cover why we need that a bit later.
Object has been ordered.
Now, I've left a gap at the front for a very particular reason. We don't have it yet, but we will. You can put, like, a big giant screen. Yeah, you know, classic, like, this is how the game works, okay? If you have ever watched, like, an old spy movie, like a really old spy movie, or any sort of, like, parody of an old spy movie, or any of, like, the, just whatever in your head, when someone says evil genius, like, criminal mastermind, right? Or, like, Bond villain. Bond villain's the best example. If someone says Bond villain, anything you picture in your head is probably in this game. So what we can get here is like a big giant screen, you know, so they can all see the stats and the numbers as they're working at their little station. So that's what we're going to get. So we're going to put that in later. We don't need it just yet, but we will. How are we doing on money? Okay, so we've got 165,000. That's not going to improve for a little bit. And that's a real problem. Also, we can demolish that strong room, yes. Because we can get one. It just moves all the shit over to here, which is fine. Oh, okay, because we only got one guy on demolition, so that's alright. I reckon we just kill these guys here. So, what I just did there is I tagged them all for killing, because you can't actually control your minions. Like, I can't do anything for this guy. Yeah, freezer, good. So I can't do anything with these guys. Like, if I right-click, that's how you do barracks stuff. So the general minions, nothing I can do for them. Alright? They're completely useless. Okay, I might put a freezer down here. Ooh, that would be pretty close to the entrance, though. Maybe not. Maybe not, maybe not. Might put it a little deeper in. Because, obviously, you know, when you kill people, they leave behind body bags. Obviously, body bags are suspicious. There shouldn't be 100 dead people at a billionaire's, like, you know, underground thing, yeah? Underground mansion complex thing. So we need to get rid of these, basically. Because if someone comes through and finds them, that will be serious trouble for us. Now, I'm gonna tell them to build that. I think what we might do is we're gonna have to head down this way, probably. So you can see, right, this island is not very big. You get a bigger island later on in the game, which is interesting because you have to rebuild everything, but we'll cover that when we get there. But at the moment, you can see, like, this is the bigger section of the mountain. Like, once we get to here, this is where it really expands. But it's really not that big. Like, we've used about a third of this mountain already, and we're nowhere into the game. So, you have to be really careful about how you sort of set things up, and you might end up just having to make some sacrifices. It might not end up looking pretty. You know, you just have to kind of make do. So what I think we're going to do is probably put the... I'll just put a door there. I have I think I know what I'm going to put in here, so I'm going to leave that for now. And I think I'm going to put a freezer in here. Not a very big one. Oops. Just like... Yeah, that should actually be alright. Because you just have to fit freezer racks in there. Yeah, and actually that's perfect, so I can fit 3 on each side. And if you have a freezer, they just move the stuff there. So at the moment, they don't know what to do with these body bags, right? They just leave them there. Body bags sap minion stats. So what that pop-up was before is it was telling me about stats. So if I was to double-click on the minion, it gives me the stats. And everything in the game has these 5 stats. Enemies do, henchmen do, minions do, like everything does, right? You have health, pretty self-explanatory. You have loyalty, which is dropping, and so is this one. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. We have smarts, we have attention, and we have endurance. Now, the main ones you worry about are loyalty, health, and endurance. Because if your minion runs out of all their health, they're dead. Easy. They just die. They keel over, die. Your minions don't leave body bags, thank God. Otherwise the game would be a massive pain in the ass. Loyalty. Now, loyalty, if they run out of loyalty, they desert you. They get up and they leave. They run away. And you may not want that, because you can lose the loyalty of, like, your top-ranked guys that you've trained for ages, and they might just run out of loyalty one day and they leave. So you have to try and keep that high. Smarts, I believe, if they run out of smarts, they just kind of stand there and they go, like, stupid, and they just start, like, scratching their head and looking like a chimp. Like, they legit do, they just sit there and go, like, "Bleh." And they have to go get escorted away to fix that. So that's something you want to keep high, but it's not usually that much of a big deal. Attention, another one that's kind of a big deal, but not super important. What happens if you have low attention is your minion, if they run out, they stand there and scratch their head and look stupid, just like the smarts. But if it's low, there's a chance they can trigger your traps. And we'll cover traps in a sec, alright? But just bear with me that there's traps, and if they have low attention, they can trigger them and kill themselves. Now, endurance, as you can maybe imagine, how do I rotate there, the camera? Okay. I do like having it this way, because it makes it easy to sort of navigate the island if I know that I'm facing north. Okay. So, alright, we can get that done too. We're actually running pretty short on money. Oh, they've probably run off to buy heaps of what do you call it? Control consoles and stuff, and they're pretty expensive. I should have planned this better. I shouldn't have gone so big from the start, but might have to be okay. We might pause that for the moment, because at the moment we can't get any more money, which is a pretty big problem. Oh no, okay, we got heaps of gear coming. That's right. That's good. I was saying, yeah, if they run out of endurance, they get KO'd. They get knocked unconscious, which for your minions is not that big of a deal. If they get KO'd, a minion will just come along and pick them up and take them back to the barracks where they can sleep and get better. But if it's an enemy, they get knocked unconscious, you can take them to a prison cell and then interrogate them, which will... Again, there's a lot of concepts here that we'll sort of cover in a bit. But it's hard to sort of explain things without covering the whole thing. So, if you click on objects, like these ones don't have an aura. Whoops. That was my bad. These ones don't have an aura, but something like Maximilian, you can see he has an aura. These have auras. Minions don't. God damn it. Stupid fast double click. I don't think Jubei has one. No. But, so if we click on this, you can see the aura's blue, but then it changed to purple. So what does that mean? It means that... Okay, yeah, thank you. It means that these body bags, inside the aura, they sap loyalty, which is blue,
now have access to the world
and attention, which is purple. So you can see that as the minions walk past, they get like the down arrows, so down blue. So that means it's... Oh my god. Unlocking everything. Yes, I get it. That means that as the minions are walking past, it's sapping their loyalty and attention, which is why all my minions are having low loyalty and attention. So that's the other reason you want to get rid of body bags. Now, the opposite is true of Maximilian, my evil genius. So he has a blue and purple aura, but his is a positive one. So, you know, as they walk past and they see the boss, it's like, ah, yes, sir. Like, sometimes they'll salute and stuff when they go past. You know, it improves their loyalty and makes them pay closer attention, otherwise, you know, they end up in trouble. So you can see some of the buildings are done, so we've got some minions working at it. Now, these control panels are shit. They require 2 people to do one person's work. Later on you can... Yes, thank you. Later on you can upgrade them so that they have 1 person on them, and we just ran out of power. So you can see they'll all get up and walk away, because they can't go in here when we're out of power. And everything's pitch black, we're out of power. So we need to fix that. And that's what I'm going to build up here, I think. So we're going to go like this. We'll put it at the end of the corridor, probably, to try and, like, confuse the investigators. And we'll try and make it as big as we can, because, as you're about to see, these power generators are not small. So we're going to try and cram as many of these in as we can. And we're going to have some capacitors here as well. This one does need to be, like, as many as we can, because we're going to need it. Inevitably, we're going to need more power, so... We'll sort that out. We will tell them to build this. We don't have enough money for any of that stuff, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the world map. So this is the world map, right? You can see everything's broken up into colors. So you've got blue for the Americans. Well, okay, we'll just go through the colors. So you've got blue, green, red, orange, and yellow. Now, each one of those colors represents a different, like... like the United Nations, alright? It's like a military alliance. So the red countries are like the you know, old Russian bloc. They're like the communists, basically. So they've got all these areas here and Cuba. Blue is the Americas, so they've... Or the American sort of alliance thing. So you've got all the American parts and Japan. The orange ones are more or less just like sort of the Asian coalition type thing. So you got like China and the Philippines and Indonesia and all that stuff is all one block. Yellow is the... it's yellow sort of everyone else, if that makes sense. Because you got green is like the European... is sort of Europe and their colonies. So you got like Europe, South Africa, India, Australia, New Zealand. Look, I am over here. I would be right there. Well, okay, I'd be over here somewhere, but still, somewhere around there. Anyway. Yeah, so green is like the Europeans and sort of their colonies or ex-colonies, and then yellow is kind of everyone else. Like, I don't know why they have Antarctica, but they have South America, sort of Central Africa. Yeah, I know. And North Africa. So, we can interact with these guys, and each of these little dots is a mission we can do. I'm gonna pause it just so I can sort of talk through this without running out of money. So, with each country, you can see here we click. This means that we don't have enough control panels controlled to get intel on it, which is unsurprising. We don't have any control panels at the moment. And there's no missions in here, so you can see, like, there's nothing there. But if we were to click on one of the little dots, so that becomes a flag, and there's a mission there. So all of these missions are hilarious and brilliant. And they're very, again, they're very, like, campy, you know, you could picture the evil geniuses doing these things in, like, James Bond jobs. So, like, let's look at this one. So it's called Operation Earplug. So operatives have uncovered a smash, which is the yellow guys, listening post, and staging area for covert operations. It appears that this cell has effectively curtailed criminal activities in the region. Destroying this operation will send a clear message to the forces of justice. A new power is rising, and no pesky do-good is going to stop it. So that's a more basic one. We can find some sillier ones. Forging ahead, Bruce the Dingo McGraw is a master forger currently languishing in prison. His skill can't be faulted, but his common sense leaves something to be desired. He was only caught because he tried to spend his forged money before the ink had dried. Prison security is relatively lax, so a breakout shouldn't be difficult, and freeing McGraw will be an effective two-finger salute to the Sabre agents that caught him. So Sabre is the green guy. So you have... I'm going to do this off the top of my head because I know. Blue is Patriot. Red is Hammer. Yellow is Smash. Blue is Saber, and orange is Anvil. So, lots of cool names. They're obviously, like, backronyms. I don't remember if they actually have, like, an extended version, or if it's just the acronym. But either way, you know, it's pretty funny. Okay. Ports indicate train civilians are holding on the island. Okay, we will do that soon. But first of all, you can see they've moved the body bags in here, and if we click on them, we actually can't, because you can see they have no aura in here, because, you know, they're refrigerated. Like, they don't smell, and they're not in obvious sight, so having them in the freezer is ideal. That's what you want. Anyway, we're out of money, so what do? We can steal from people, which we absolutely will do. You know what? We're going to steal from Australia. I don't think it's a very good theft target in the game, technically, but it's too good to pass up. So what we do is we send 10 of our minions into the region, and we just get them to steal. And then I think it's every 60 seconds, we get a certain amount of money. So you have to kind of balance the minions you have at home versus the minions you have out and about. Also, if anyone has played this game before, you've probably noticed by now that I have like a lot more minions. I've done a slight modding job on the game that maxes out the minions you can get at 200 instead of 100. So I've basically just gone through all the tiers and doubled them. I feel that the game is a lot more fun when you get 200. When you have a limit of 100, you'll find that it's really, like, your minions will be really thin a lot of the time, which can be a problem with some of the bigger attacks. So I just busted up to 200 because, you know, my computer can take it, it's an old game, and it's more fun. So, that's it. Normally you can only have 100, so I'd have like 20 people at this level. But because I have 40, I can get more shit done, basically. So at the moment, I'm recruiting one construction worker every 60 seconds. That costs me nothing. So theoretically, I could boost that up to 4,000, and it will give me a minion in 1 second. Now, generally speaking, you don't need to have it topped out. Just because, like, you're never going to be in that much of a rush to get construction workers. But if you have, like, you know, a lot of construction workers die or you're under attack or something, then you might need them, like, now. In which case, and if you have the money to spare, you want to go through. What else about this game is excellent? One of the other main issues with having no power is all of your doors can't be locked. So you can see, like, they're all open and flashing to say that there's no power, they're not locked, anyone can walk through. That's a real issue, because that affects your whole base. So there's no, like, power grids in this, like there is in, you know, RimWorld or something. It's just you're on a global power grid. So all the power you have is for your entire base. How are our minions? Are they there yet? Okay, they are. So you can see at the moment they are going to steal 616 cash. Oh, sorry, no, that's my cash. Our total income is 1,000 every 60 seconds. So construction workers are pretty bad at theft. You know, they have their uses. Theft is not one of them. And I don't think Australia is a very good thieving spot. So what we might actually do is, I want to say the East Coast is a better spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to move 10 minions up to here, but we're just going to take 10 minions out of here. So what they should do is, you should see the helicopter come along. Here's a little helicopter token. And it should grab them from here and fly them over there. Right? Yep. So it's a lot easier to move minions that are already out in the world than it is to move them from your base. And it still only makes us 1,000. I think that's because construction workers are shit at theft. You know, shocker. So for a little bit, our gold reserves will be pretty low. So we won't be able to do much. And that's my fault for sort of expanding this quickly. I'm used to having infinite money, so I can just kind of stuff around with it. So at least for the moment, everything's kind of dead. Oh, there's our maid that we need to capture. You know what? I'm a bit bored. Let's do this. So you can see they salute. So what your leader can do to keep the minions in line is you can commit an execution. Also, can we just knock her out, please? So civilians don't fight back, they just try to run away. But yeah, she's not going anywhere. So what we can do to keep loyalty high is we can actually execute some minions. You can execute any minion, which, you know, you may not want to do on your high level ones, but sometimes it comes down to, like, ooh, we can build the hotel. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you may not want to do it on your high level minions. Generally you execute construction workers because they're expendable, but if they're about to run out of loyalty, or they're about to, I don't know, lose something, it might be just more worth it to execute them than anything else. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to execute one of these guys. You.
You have failed me for the last time.
Pretty grim, but it's very, very campy. I think Alexis Lexus, the other evil genius, she, like, sets him on fire with a cigarette or something, and... Yeah, I know. And the, Shen Yu, the like, evil ninja lord-looking guy, I think he, like, cuts him up with a knife. But either way, what that did is... I'll just do it again, but not watch it properly. So if I click on him, you can see this expanded aura. So that means everyone in this aura improves their stats. So executing someone actually improves all their stats for a short time. So it improves health, loyalty, attention, smarts, and endurance. Yeah, that's going to happen a bit until we get an actual, like, armory with a prison cell. Which we probably built here, right? It's probably big enough. Oh, wait, hang on, I can do the thing I like doing. Do we have any space anywhere? We have some space there, but I don't really want to put it there. So here's a little trick. If you didn't know this one, then... If you play the game you didn't know this one, here's a pro strat. If you have some space, just like a little 4x4 space, not 4x4, 2x2, you can actually just build a little armory and put a prison cell there. So the game kind of encourages you to, like, build an armory and put everything in it, because you can see the armory, like, you need a holding cell, so we'll just chuck one of them in there. And, you know, that's what they want. But what you can do instead, so theoretically I could, like, put an armory here. I'm not going to because it's a silly place. But you can go armory, and then put a prison cell like that. So you end up with a room the size of the holding cell, and it works just fine. But it means you can use up some of that space that you always have. Like, you always end up with a lot of, like, little areas that can't be used for anything, because a lot of the objects are pretty long. So, there's a trick for you. Really nifty trick. I'm very impressed that I found that one. Actually, let's send Jubei. Because I'm pretty sure he's better at stealing, right? You can also see their stats this way, so you can see stealing, terrible, I think that's intelligence, terrible, and their strength is poor. So they're slightly better at strength than they are at everything else. Boy, we have covered a lot in this Let's Play. I really enjoy this game. Sorry, I love explaining things. It's just what I do. Really enjoy explaining things. I'm wondering if we... Yeah... You put a standard door here to try and keep some of the rabble out. But obviously it won't ever work really well. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, you're gonna keep telling me that. Chopper coming in? Oh, hang on, chopper going out. Right, it's Jubei. So that's how the minions actually leave. So when you send them to the world map, they actually have to go to either this helipad or this dock. And like a ship or a helicopter will come in and pick them up. So you can see there goes Jubei. Gets in the helicopter. And as soon as it starts closing, you can see away it goes. Now how much money we're making. 1,250. So you can see on his own, he's worth 250 because he has fair stealing, terrible intelligence, and good strength. So I don't know if that's really worth it. We probably want him back at home, but I think we'll be okay doing that to make some money. And I will be honest, I'm almost tempted to just cheat a little just to sort of get the main game started, but that'll be last resort. We'll hold off on that. Because I just don't want to be sitting here staring at a screen like this for ages. Well, I guess I could just, like... I don't need this many. I could just chuck out heaps of you, couldn't I? 'Cause I'm still getting some, right? Yeah, it goes up to 40. So I'm actually still getting new minions. Because at the moment you're only there for, like, construction. And since there's no construction happening, because we have no money, it's probably no real point having everyone at home like this. Yeah, this is the main problem. Like, this is my fault for getting straight back into it and having not played it without like cheating and just stuffing around for a really long time because I'm used to that. So this is, I don't expect I will be as good at this game as I used to be. But we're actually going to move these body bags onto the rack. I don't think I always have to do that. I think it's just because I built the freezer before the actual racks, so they put it on the ground. They should normally try and put it on the racks if they can. Ooh, well, I have a capacitor. That's gonna be kind of helpful. How much are the power stations worth? 8 grand. Yeah, that's pretty far into the future. These guys are pretty expensive too, right? Yeah, 8 grand each. 6 grand. Beds are only 400 and 800, yeah. So it was probably the control room. I built way too many of these things that are more or less unnecessary. Okay, so they're not listed here, so they must be in transit. Oh yeah, they just got on the boat. There they go. Boom! 2,750 funds every minute. That's a bit more useful. And obviously, like, when we actually like start training up military minions, they're actually better at stealing, so that's, you'll end up having like guards and mercenaries and stuff off in the world stealing more often than they'll be at home. Guards you might keep just because they get some better equipment for defending your guys, but yeah. Most of the higher ones you can probably get rid of. Or do the opposite. So when you get the really high level, like when you get snipers, you can probably start getting rid of your guards and sending them off because your snipers fill the same purpose, basically, except they're better. What are you doing? Okay, you just put the money away. Bit odd. So how many we got here? So we got 30... Oh, we just got another minion. There you go, 36. There he is, he just arrived. Fresh off the boat, as it were. So how many we got up here? We got 25 and 1. We're going to send another 5, which will leave me with 6 minions to defend myself. So, how do you lose this game? Well, there's like a lot of ways to soft lose the game. Like, for example, you can put yourself in a position where you can't win. Or like, it'll be really hard to win, like, it'll be a slog. But technically, you lose when your evil genius gets killed. So what kind of ends up happening is, towards the end of the game, they'll start sending, like, bigger and stronger people they start sending bigger and stronger people whose sole job is to destroy your shit. Rather than the investigators, their sole job is to have a look. So they'll run around, they'll take photos and stuff, but they don't actively shoot at you or anything. Unless they see something bad. Like, if they get alerted or if they get attacked, they will fight back in self-defense, but they don't just walk up and, like, see your guy and just go bang, right? Later on you get, I think there's 4 types of enemies. You have investigators, you have thieves, whose sole purpose is to sneak in and steal your expensive shit, and we'll probably see them a little bit later. They can steal from your strong room, they can steal some of your items, which you can get. They do things like that, and that's their job. So again, they won't engage your minions unless they get, like, caught or they get attacked or whatever, right? That's their purpose. It would avail them nothing to attack your people and reveal their presence. So they will just walk around and steal your stuff. There's saboteurs. Yeah, the saboteurs, which I don't remember if they actually attack your minions. I think in most cases not. They'll usually send like 2 or 3 of them in a group, and their main job is they'll find your expensive buildings and blow them up. So like these things would be viable to get blown up. Power plants, absolutely. That's like the prime target for getting shit blown up is power plants. Oh wow, do we afford enough for a power plant? No, probably another capacitor. Yeah, shit. They're gonna build these first. I might demolish that. Just so I can save up for the power plant. Before anything else. He says as he builds like a door. was I gonna say? Yeah, saboteurs. So they go through, they blow up your power plant, they blow up your control panels, some of your other big name objects. If they can find them. If they can't, I think they just act like investigators and they just take photos of stuff. And then finally, you have the big boys. You have soldiers. So you only get soldiers towards the end of the game, and if you fuck up, like really bad, and everyone's pissed at you. And their main behavior is just search and destroy. So they will just walk in, if they see a minion, they just gun them down. Their one objective is to destroy everything in your base. They'll blow stuff up, they shoot your minions, they just cause havoc, right? So soldiers will kill your evil genius. I believe saboteurs will if they see him. I think thieves will if they see him, but investigators don't. So generally you want to keep your evil genius either somewhere really crowded or somewhere safe, like deep in your base where they just can't find him. But there's advantages and disadvantages to both. Obviously, if you have them deep in your base, you can't use their aura for anything, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just having them in here so that every time the minions walk past, they get a boost to loyalty and attention. Because why not? You know, there's no reason to not have him do that. Okay, we've hit our capacity. But he is pretty vulnerable. He's pretty vulnerable. So, like, if theoretically, I'm not going to leave him here for the whole game, but theoretically, if soldiers, like, walked in and saw him, they could probably gun him down before my minions could really stop them. Your evil genius has a fair bit of health, but not an infinite amount. So, yeah. There's that. Obviously, the opposite's true. Like, if you put them deep in your base, they're heaps safer because the people will have to penetrate through your entire base. So it's worth noting. Oh, goddammit. Every time it says caution, I'm like, oh, something's happened. Nice, just keeps reminding me. Anything happened? No, we're still just stealing away? Okay. It's worth noting that the investigators and stuff, they can't, like, dig through the walls. So they have to travel down the path that I give them, basically. Which is why I say that layout of your base is really important. Because it can affect how easy it is for investigators and stuff to get around. Like, in the long run, having a freezer this like, shallow into your base is probably a bad idea. Because it's, if you look at it, so say they come in here, they get to here, very likely. If they go this way, they come down here. Again, pretty likely. If they turn this way, they see a power plant, and power stations are suspicious. I think these are as well. Yeah, so you can see it's got a heat measure, which means that it's suspicious. Power plants have a bigger heat measure than capacitors. Because again, it's like, you know, this is... I think the idea of this... Well, actually, you build a hotel outside. So maybe they think you're like a developer or something. You know, and this is just like it's just a resort island. So when they go inside and they see, you know, you can pass this off. This is just workers' quarters, you know, everyone needs beds and lockers. But then you start getting to, you know, the strong room. Right, briefcase racks don't have heat. So, again, I guess you can blow off the strong room. You can just say, like, nah, the strong room's just, it's just, you know, you gotta have a safe place to keep your earnings. Yeah, it's a vault. It's a vault's what it is, basically what a strong room is. But then you get down here and you're like, well, you know, why do you need like an industrial sort of power supply room? Like, what are you doing here that needs big industrial power supply? That's a bit suspicious. Because we started with plus 20, which I don't know, I'm kind of assuming is like the mains. Theoretically, like, it's the power that everyone gets. You know, it's the sockets, right? That's like the socket power. So that plus 20, I've just blown through it because I'm running massive, you know, computer gear and stuff, and yeah. So when you get into here, it's like, well, why do you have that? You don't need that. And obviously, if they come in here and see the prison cell, the heat on prison cells is massive, as you can imagine, because it's like, why do you need a prison cell? That's pretty suspicious. But freezers are exactly the same. Again, freezer racks pretty massive, I think. Maybe? No. Right, freezer racks aren't, the body bags on them are. So if they get into the freezer, they just take photos of all your body bags. Still, probably not the best layout, in my opinion. Just because it's so close to the power plant. If we get some saboteurs in here, they'll probably blow it up long before I notice.
Caution, gold reserve low.
But I'm hoping that there'll be a lot of people in the barracks most of the time, so if I tell them to kill the saboteurs like here, they'll just be able to do it straight away. It won't be a problem. And I also put a door here because the way Investigator AI works is actually like doors. So they kind of like, if they see a door, they go, ooh, there's something behind that. Whereas if they just see an open corridor, they sort of look at it and go like, whatever, right? That works as well with the locking on the doors. So you can lock the doors. So if I right click on this, you can see I have these 4 dots. So level 1 means it's open to anyone. So that means investigators can walk through it. I think we've captured the maid again. Yeah. The maid would be able to walk through it for free. Anyone can go in there, and you use that on hotels and stuff. And I can use it on the front door as well, actually, which I might do. Because a heat, or like a locking one door is not suspicious. A lot of the time, investigators will probably avoid level 1 doors if there's a better option, because it doesn't look like there's anything behind it. I've got power again. I must have completed 1 power generator, did I? Yeah. Nice. 1 complete. Oh, hang on. There's a box coming in. I might have a second one. I do have a second one. Excellent. I have power again. I want to get into the green, which I now am. Excellent. Also, hang on. We'll just switch this off. So that's what the time clocks are for. You can, like, assign sort of the number of people in a room. It's not super intuitive, because it's like, red means nobody, yellow means minimum. So, like, you'll have enough for 1 on everything. Green, and the green ones are just, like, having extra people that are safe. So, like, if you have green 1, I think it just means there's 1 extra person in the room that'll just walk around in case someone, or, like, for when someone leaves. So, obviously, they don't work these all the time. It decreases their stats. I think they lose attention and smarts when they use these. So every now and again, they have to, like, get off and go and improve their stats again. So you can have 1 spare person walking around the room so that when they get up from the control panel and walk away, the spare person can just go straight in, and you don't really lose any, you know, you don't lose any time in between, more or less. But it's very rare you'll need that. Yellow is normally enough. Just running on, like, the minimum people to make the room function is ideal. So yeah, if you look at these, they have a heat of 5, which is pretty high. I think 20 is the max. You can see this one's also slightly worn, and we'll cover that in a sec. But yeah, so, like, yellow's fine, for the most part. What was I saying before that? I don't remember. Haven't done a whole lot of playing this game yet, which is kind of disappointing, but such is the start. I love the stack of minion markers there. Just a pile. Yeah, I haven't done much playing yet, which is kind of how it goes at the start. Before you get military minions and you can start making real bank, you're just sort of a bit slow to do anything, because you're sort of at the mercy of how much you can steal with shitty construction minions. And I'm really waiting for this to get done so I can interrogate that maid and stop just knocking her about and leaving her on the ground. Probably bad. Probably bad. I was saying, yeah, right, door locking. That was the thing I was talking about. So level 2 means only your minions and henchmen can get through, so it just locks out tourists. Tourists won't. So, for example, the maid is technically a tourist, because you can get civilians that come to your island, and that's why you build a hotel. Like, it keeps them busy, so they don't go snooping around. But level 2, tourists can't get in, like, at all. They can't unlock the doors. They can walk through them if your minions go through them, but on their own they can't get through. Investigators can try and crack doors, but they still can't just go through them. Unless like a minion opens it for them. Level 3, I believe, means only your... Yes, only you and I think your henchmen. So only the mastermind and your individual henchmen, which is... I don't have one on the map, but Jubei. Only Jubei and the mastermind, Megamind, evil genius can get through those doors. Which does the opposite effect of... So if a Investigator sees a level 3 locked door, they usually prioritize cracking into those, because there's obviously something there. Like, you know, no one's allowed in there except the guy that owns the place. Like, what's in that door? You know, what's behind there? It must be something suspicious. No. You can sort of abuse that AI, which I will absolutely do, because it's an amazing strat. And then you have level 4, which is exactly the same as level 3, except there's a guard stationed on the door. So you'll get... It'll usually be, if you have them, one of your military minions or your henchmen, and they'll just stand in front of the door and stop anyone going through. I never use it, because it locks down one of your military minions, or like worse still, a henchman. You don't really want those locked down. But I understand why you might want to use it if there is something that you don't want like investigators seeing. If you have a level 4 lock on a door and there's a guy standing there and they try to crack it, they'll instantly get tagged to die. But 9 times out of 10... Yeah, I know. 9 times out of 10 you're way better off just, like, waiting. And paying attention to the map. So, there's a lot to manage. You know, when you get a big base like this, you will have a lot to sort of look at and make sure it's working properly and build, and a lot of times you'll be looking at the world domination map and all that stuff. But if you spend the time to clean up your map and make sure that there's nothing here, it's not usually a big deal to have a +4. A door 4, rather. So, you can see that because we have an armory, it's also our prison facility, so we have a minion that's picked up the maid and bring her in there. We don't have a cell yet, so she'll just get dumped on the floor. But even so, it's still a lot safer having her there than running around on the island. So she can still wake up eventually, because she's not in a prison cell. But, yeah, I mean, how does she get out? You know, she can't get out this way. She has to run all the way through here, where she'll just get captured again, so no big deal. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty basic idea of what Evil Genius is. It's really fun. I hope you guys stick with it. I know this episode's been really slow. I know it's my fault. I overspent by a mile, and I'm stuck. You can see her waking up now. And she's out again, and they'll just carry her back in there. Yep. I'll just do it with one hand, just like, stronk. Just drop her. Pick her up with one hand by the collar. Blech. Oh, there we go. So now we have a prison cell, so they should actually, like, pick her up straight away. Yeah. And carry him in there. So, they can't get out of prison cells. They'll wake up immediately and they can't go anywhere. Occasionally, investigators and, like, saboteurs and thieves and stuff will try to break out, which they can do. It's pretty unlikely, but it's possible. So, that's why it's really important to have prison cells in important places. Because if you leave them, like... Because theoretically, right? Again, here's the thing. I could theoretically put a prison cell here. It would be a bad idea for a lot of reasons. Like, A, it's right next to the entrance, so any investigator will walk past and go, oh, there's a prison cell, chink, and then I've got heat. Other reason is, if they happen to break out, they can just run straight out. Like, the odds that I'm going to have a lot of minions here, ready to go, is unlikely for a fair while. Yeah, I need to interrogate her, I know. What else have we got? What other concepts have we got? Yeah, I'm doing a lot of explaining in this game, and sorry. I'll admit, I'm filling in time. I'm filling in what will be dead air otherwise, because normally I'd actually have stuff to do. I'd have buildings to assign, like jobs to give out, things like that, but at the moment, because I don't have any money, I'm just kind of stuck. Until I get guards, and then I can actually start making thousands every 60 seconds, which is what you want. It's what you want, works way better. Right, so why is heat bad? Well, heat is directly affected by this. So you can see up here in the top right, there's a heat gauge. It's up here. You can see if I hover over these places, you know, there's no heat. And I'm specifically avoiding Patriot for the moment. So you can see, like, there's no heat anywhere, right? But because I have 1 million people in Patriot territory, if we were to hover over any Patriot territory, boom, we have quite a bit. Now, the higher your heat with a particular faction, the way higher chance they will send, like, higher level people. So, they'll send, like, higher level people, so all the investigators have, like, a rank that determines how strong they are and what weapons and behaviors they have. And then, also, it determines what types they send. So if you get high heat like that, like this heat I'm sitting at, definitely saboteurs, I would say. Maybe even shitty soldiers. So, like, at that point, I have tons of soldiers. Now, that heat goes up by you doing missions, by you having people in the territory and stealing, or anytime an investigator takes a photo and then, like, keeps it, right? Anytime they take a photo and they manage to escape the island, it raises your heat with a particular alliance, we'll call them. We'll call them alliances, because it's kind of what it is. It's like NATO, you know, the Warsaw Pact, or whatever it's called nowadays, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure there's one led by China, isn't there? Some sort of pact there. I mean, you can call this the Commonwealth, I guess. It's, I mean, it is and it isn't. Commonwealth isn't technically an alliance, not like NATO is. But, and then you have this one, and I want to say there's a name for this alliance as well, but I don't exactly remember what the real life equivalent is. But, yeah. So that's what happens, basically. As you get more heat, they send, like, worse stuff after you. So you want to try and keep heat low, as a general rule. But at the moment, because it's early in the game, they actually haven't triggered, like, the proper AI. You can see there's actually no one else on the island, it's just me. Normally during the game, your island will be constantly populated with investigators and stuff. So you'll always have to be dealing with that. Unless you set up automated systems to do it for you. Which is where we get to traps. So, traps are exactly what you would think they are. It's very much like, again, like old James Bond movies and stuff. You can set up, so at the moment we have poison gas cage, wind machine, and confusing pop-up. So, it's got a really nifty system where you have to set up pressure pads and then work from there, which we might actually do, although we don't have the money. Okay, hold that thought. I'm going to do this. So, is it here? Like that? Is that right? I think that's right. So I'm just like thinking in my head. Do I even need a gap? Yeah, I do. Oh no, you can make a wide one. You can't make a 1x1, it won't let you. But you can, and I don't think you can make a 2x1, can you? No, because they have to be able to fit through, and I think you need 2x2 to fit through. See? Maybe I'll just do that. Because I could also use this to abuse the AI and then do something over here. You also can't separate them, that's why this has a problem. Like, I can't build something there and then something over here. Like, I can't do that. It doesn't like it. You have to assign them as 2 separate rooms. I might actually do that instead. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll do another one here.
Room construction underway.
And again, I'll show you why you do that in a second, but we'll set up some sort of trap here. So I'm going to go pressure pads, because that's all I've got. So they're the only sensors that you have. And these are going to be confusing pop-up traps, facing that way. And again, we'll talk about why you do that in a second. So some traps are more obvious than others. So for example, poison gas cage. Funnily enough, what do you think it does? It drops like a cage on them and it gasses them. Not bad, but not very articulate. Now the wind machine trap, so I could put them like on this wall and it shoots out a stream of air that blows them backwards. Which, the main problem with that being it's obvious, so when that happens I think they get heat immediately. But the upside is that you can blow them into other traps. It is the idea. Is that you blow them around and get them into other traps. Boom. So he was in the way, so he actually got hurt by that. But he should be right.
Minions, you need to capture
Yeah. I know how to play the game. Thank you. Thank you, game, for pointing that out. 3,250 every 60 seconds is pretty good. Killing swingers achieves nothing. Oh, right, she died in the prison cell. So you can't keep people in prison cells forever. Eventually they do just die of, like, starvation, because you don't feed them or anything. You just sort of leave them there. So what we're going to do here, right, is we're going to abuse the AI like I talked about. So we're actually going to put a door here and leave it as level 3. So when the investigators come in, they're going to sit here and spend time trying to unlock this door. Now, why do we do that? Well, because of a few things, right? You can just kill investigators. But there's a couple of problems with that. A, it leaves a body bag. B, they just keep coming. So, like, you can kill them all day, and there'll still be a new one. As soon as you kill them, I don't know if it's, like, exactly as soon as you kill them, but it spawns a fresh group a bit later. So it's kind of pointless, like, you can't win that way. And 3, it's difficult. It's a pain. Like, you can obviously, like, assign your minions to go and kill them, but then you have minions that aren't working. You can set up big trap systems, but big trap systems cost power, and they may not work. So what you can do instead is, what isn't immediately apparent in the game, but you learn if you played it enough, is that investigators are on your island for a certain amount of time. Like normal investigators, not those bullshit ones at the start. They're always there. It's part of the objective. But investigators have a certain time on your island. They have, you know, they're on the mission for a certain period. If they don't find anything suspicious, if they find nothing at all before their mission is up, they actually leave and lower your heat. Because, you know, they report to their superiors and they go, well, I mean, you sent us there, but it's fine. You know, there's nothing there. We looked everywhere. We couldn't find anything wrong. So, what can be a much more useful strategy is just wasting their time. So level 3 doors like this, when you get the, like, upgraded doors that are much harder to open the, or, like, pick the lock, or break it open or whatever, you can put a door like this, like a level 3 door, somewhere, and they will spend, like, 3/4 of their mission just trying to bust open this door, and they finally open it, and empty corridor. There's nothing there. And then they'll just move on. But you've wasted so much time. So anyway, we'll set up traps quickly, and then we will call it there for episode 1. And hopefully episode 2 will be a bit more exciting. I will have some money by that point. I'm tempted to leave it on, get a little bit of money. In fact, I might actually do that after this. I'll leave it running for a bit, get some more money, and then that way tomorrow I'll have enough. I might just get like 100,000 or something. I'll leave it running while I'm doing other things. But, yeah, okay, so we'll set up traps. So you need to link the traps to the things, because they don't go off on their own. So you have to link the pressure pads. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to link this pressure pad to that trap, we're going to link this pressure pad to that trap, and we're actually going to link this trap to that trap. So when basically either of these pressure pads is stepped on, it will trigger this one, which will immediately trigger this one. So it pops both these up. Now, confusing pop-up traps, they just damage the attention of people. The trick with that is it does it to your minions too. So if your minions get caught in this area when the trap goes off, they will attack these like the other agents and decrease their attention. If you decrease an agent's attention to 0, they just kind of stand there stupid, and your minions will come and escort them out of your base. And it wastes more of their time. So they'll stand there scratching their head and doing nothing for a long time until they finally like recover a little bit, and then they'll have wasted some of their mission. So again, it's all about like stalling it out like that, right? Way better strategy. You might ask, why not just put like a poison gas trap here? Because as you'll see, right, so my minions go through, they see the pressure pad, and they do that. So they do that little like Wi-Fi symbol arc thing. That means they've spotted the trap and deactivated it as they walk past. So if they have low attention, they won't, and they'll just activate it themselves. So that's one of the reasons you don't put like deadly traps in your front thing like this, because this is a high traffic area, right? There'll be minions coming and going this way all the time. Especially when, like when I max this out and have 200 minions, imagine, you know, even if I have a big base, there's going to be, I'd say like 20 minions always in this corridor, just going back and forward on construction or whatever, or just wandering around the base, blah blah blah, right? If you put a deadly trap there and one minion that is inattentive comes through and steps on it, they might die and other people might die. Or B, it's the #1 corridor for agents, and the agents will walk through, they'll trigger the trap, and they might gas themselves and 4 of your minions. So it's usually better to have... Honestly, these are probably the best ones. Anything that does damage, or damage to a stat that isn't health. Because if they run out of smarts, if they run out of attention, that's fine. Your guys will just come and collect them. If it's your minions, your people will come and collect them, take them where they need to go, and improve the stats, right? So that's no worries. It takes them out of the fight for a bit, but whoop-de-doo. You know, you can deal with that. Anyway, we're going to leave this episode here. As I said, I know, a bit slow at first. I promise it'll pick up. Bear with me. Come watch the next episode. It's a really fun game. It's really campy. Heavy parody of, like, Bond villains. Lots of amazing animations and attention to detail, all that stuff. So, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you don't like the slow pace, hit that dislike button. I don't blame you. That's what they're for. If you want to see more of my content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you think you know any friends that might enjoy my content, make sure you share a video or two with them. I really appreciate it. And finally, if you want to leave any hints, tips, tricks, feedback for videos, if you want to leave, like, comments about your experiences with Evil Genius, if you played it before, have you played it before? I would love to hear how many people have played this game before. Because it was something I played, like, when I was a kid. And I didn't really understand it at first, and I, like, got this game, I was like, oh, this looks amazing. And then I continued to play it as I've become an adult. Like, it's an amazing game. Well crafted, well optimized, everything works perfectly. But yeah, I'd love to hear your experiences with it, and if you've played it or not. So make sure you leave anything like that in the comment section down below so that I can see it. I'll see all of you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.